Chapter 21. Too stunning. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. That's right, it was such a coincidence. This Lee Si-hai just happened to be the teacher who was punished by the principal at the school entrance. He had always held a grudge against Lu Miao because of the incident at the school gate, but he did not dare to say anything because of the principal and Mrs. Gu. Now that Lu Miao had been allocated to his class and was caught by him so quickly, he naturally would not hold back. Shen Muhan leaned back on the table and said, "Teacher Lee, it's not my fault that my family is rich and powerful." Although he didn't know the exact situation of Lu Miao, he couldn't allow someone to scold his future master. If he wanted to scold his master, he would have to step over his body first. Lee Si-hai was so angry that he almost rolled his eyes. Before Lu Miao, he hated Shen Muhan the most in school. This guy's family was rich and powerful. He slept in class all day, played games, skipped classes, and fought. However, he was also a true genius. He could always get the top few places in every exam. Even if he wanted to kick him out of school, he had no reason to. However, compared to Shen Muhan, Lu Miao was nothing. Gritting his teeth, he said, "Shen Muhan, you better pray that you can always get good grades in the future. And you guys." As he spoke, he picked up his textbook and slammed it on the table twice, sweeping his gaze across the rest of the class. "You're already in your third year of high school this year. There are only about 300 days left before the college entrance examination. Everyone, stay away from those slackers who can only enter the school through the back door. Otherwise, they'll all be taken to the ditch. Teacher Lee, you don't have to worry about this. Even if there's a trench, I can fill it up. I can't just take a detour when I encounter difficulties, right?" Shen Muhan said with a smile. Lee Si-hai was so angry that he almost fell down. Was he mocking him? Right. He gritted his teeth. "You don't know what's good for you. Su-mo, come with me to the office to get the test papers immediately. Each of you will have 20 copies. Hand them in before school ends this afternoon. If you don't hand in one, you will be punished to stand for one class tomorrow." After saying that, he glared at Lu Miao with a warning look, then turned around and walked out angrily. As soon as he left, the classroom was filled with wails. 20 pieces per person. Is this something a human can do? We are not humans, but he is a real dog. Shen Muhan immediately ran to Lu Miao and patted his chest. "Don't worry, boss. Leave the small things like the test papers to me. I promise, as long as I'm here, I won't let you get punished." According to what Abyss Annihilation said, Lu Miao's studies were not that good. These 20 exam papers were obviously meant to give a warning to Lu Miao. With him around, he would never allow his future master to suffer such injustice. "No need," Lu Miao said directly. "Boss, if you need anything, you can look for me anytime." Shen Muhan did not stand on ceremony and called him boss. "Boss, look for me too." Another male student beside him also spoke up hurriedly. "Beov, get lost. Is boss someone you can call?" Shen Muhan chased him away. This was his future master. The group of people became noisy again. In the classroom of the first-year experimental class, Gu Xingyu and Lu Siyu were sitting together, chatting and laughing with the group of people around them. She was beautiful and dressed in a branded outfit. She spoke softly and Gu Xingyu flattered her from time to time. Many boys and girls surrounded her like stars surrounding the moon. Next to her, a boy suddenly raised his phone and said excitedly to the person beside him, Hey, did you guys hear? The entire internet has been looking for her these past few days. The hero who helped out when she saw injustice has been found. It was the one in the video who helped the auntie get back the money that saved her son's life. She was the one who did a good deed without leaving her name. She's in our school's class 1. She's beautiful, valiant, and extremely skilled. Those long legs are thin and straight. They're simply amazing. Are you sure? Didn't they say that they couldn't find it on the entire internet? There was a rich guy who wanted to be her girlfriend and offered a reward of 100,000 yuan, but he didn't find any clues. A student asked suspiciously. Mainly because the hero in the video was too stunning. Not only is she beautiful, but her character is also admirable, which makes it really difficult for people not to be moved. The boy who spoke earlier patted his chest heroically. I'm sure. It's her. A class of students had secretly taken a photo of her and had already uploaded it to the school forum. If it wasn't her, I would have live-streamed my naked sprinting. The class instantly boiled over. The person who had taken the photo previously only said that it was class 1, but did not say which grade it was. In addition, she said that she was a freshman, so everyone subconsciously thought that she was in year 1 class 1. When the people who were originally surrounding Lu Xiyu heard this, they instantly dispersed and returned to their seats. One by one, they immediately took out their phones and logged into the forum. Wow, a great beauty. She's even more beautiful than Xiyu. Lu Xiyu looked at the phone screen of the classmate beside her, a little unconvinced. When she saw that the amazing hero they were talking about was actually Lu Miao, she could not help but hold her breath. Damn it, why was it her again? She gritted her teeth and looked at Gu Xingyu beside her. She pulled her and asked softly, Xingyu, do you think that's Miao Miao? Someone beside her heard her and immediately turned to ask, do you know her? Gu Xingyu looked at the photo on the screen and gritted her teeth. Of course I know her. What bullsh** T hero? She's just a trash from the countryside. Her exam results were in the single digits, and she only knew how to cause trouble and fight every day. You even shamelessly snatched Xiyu's fiancé. Lu Xiyu hurriedly pulled her arm and pretended to be anxious to stop her. Xingyu, stop talking. After all, she's my sister. If others find out, how will she be able to study in school in the future? Xiyu, you're just too kind. At a time like this, you still wanted to protect her and think for her. You treat her as your biological sister, but she doesn't think so. She just wants to snatch your things. Gu Xingyu shouted, snatch your fiancé and your dowry gift. I think she'll only be satisfied after snatching all the assets of the Gu family and the Lu family. You may be afraid of her, but I'm not. As long as I'm here, her schemes won't succeed. Zhenhai High School gathers excellent students from all over the country, and there are not many local students from Luo City who can pass the entrance exam. There were not many people in school who knew about Lu Xiyu and Gu Xingyu to begin with. The news of Gu Shiyan's health condition was only spread privately by a small number of people in the top sociality circle. Moreover, it was just a rumor. There was no concrete evidence at all. Even those who knew about the Gu family and the Lu family had only heard of the marriage between the two families. They did not know the inside story at all. At this moment, hearing Gu Xingyu's words, their gossiping spirit ignited, and they all pricked up their ears and gathered around. Hey, Xingyu, are you sure what you said is true? Chapter 22. Lu Miao, get out of Zhenhai High School. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Xingyu, are you sure what you said is true? Gu Xingyu snorted coldly. I'm sure. Xiyu's fiancé is my second brother. No one in this world knows better than me. That Lu Miao was a greedy and sinister villain. She would do anything for money. She even pretended to be kind in front of my mom, grandma, and brother every day to please them. She's simply despicable and shameless. Oh my God, it's so scandalous. I was still praising her as a hero who does good things without leaving a name. I didn't expect her to be such a person. Heh, it's not just that. She just can't bear to see Xiyu doing well at all. Not only did she snatch her fiancé and dowry, but her grades in all subjects added up to single digits. Seeing that Siyu was admitted to Zhenhai High School, she forced my brother to spend tens of millions to donate a building to the school to buy a place for her. Lu Siyu gritted her teeth. She hated Lu Miao so much that her teeth itched. She wished that she could find a loudspeaker and broadcast her scandals to the whole world. I was wondering why the school suddenly wanted to build a building for no reason. This is too shameless. You really can't believe the news on the internet. Through a layer of networks, who knows if it's a person or a ghost behind it. Maybe she planned the whole thing of catching the thief and recording the video herself. Not only can she attract attention and become popular, but she can also establish herself as a kind-hearted person in front of Xingyu's family and make even more money. She's so young, but she's so scheming. This is too terrifying. No, I have to post all of this on the school forum immediately so that the teachers and all the students in the school can know her true colors. Remind everyone to stay away from her, lest they get tricked by this scheming bitch. Cherish your life, stay away from scheming cheese, and kick the slackers out of school. That's right. Everyone, hurry up and take action. Post more posts and call for more people to boycott the school. Get the scheming scum out of Zhenhai High School. A group of people angrily took out their phones and immediately logged into the school forum to post. Xingyu, you said that she came from the countryside, but didn't see you say that she was her younger sister. What's going on? A girl beside her asked curiously. Gu Xingyu did not even think about it and said directly, it's all because back then. Lu Siyu, who was at the side, hurriedly interrupted her. Xingyu, forget it. Don't say any more. Miao Miao's self-esteem won't be able to take it. Finally, she got into a school where almost nobody knew about her family background. She didn't want the fact that she was not the real heiress of the Lu family to be exposed in the school. Seeing her unhappy expression, Gu Xingyu let out a snort and said, a country bumpkin will always be a country bumpkin. Even if she tries to act like a phoenix, she can't change her true nature. Today, I won't say anything more for your sake. She turned around and said to the people around her, anyway, all you need to know is that Lu Miao is a good-for-nothing and a despicable person. Siyu is the real top student and even the winner of the mathematical Olympiad competition. Lu Miao isn't even worthy of being Siyu's shoe shiner. Mathematical Olympiad competition. Sigh, I heard from my friends abroad a few days ago that our school has specially recruited a special prize winner for the International Mathematical Olympiad this year. Siyu, it couldn't be you, right? Another student asked in surprise. Of course it's Siyu. She's the only one in the school who participated in the Mathematical Olympiad competition and even won an award. Gu Xingyu had a proud look. After the new student military training is over, at the opening ceremony, Siyu will also give a speech on behalf of the new students. When she heard the International Mathematical Olympiad gold medal, Lu Siyu didn't care either. The difference between the National and International Mathematical Olympiad was just a word. Probably when the news was passed around, it was passed on incorrectly. Seeing that all the students' gazes were attracted to her again, she raised her hand to stroke the stray hair by her ear and smiled a little embarrassedly. I was just bored at home, so I casually signed up for the exam. I didn't think about how I would place. However, the school did inform me before that as the winner of the Mathematical Olympiad competition, I will speak on behalf of the new students at the opening ceremony. Wow, she just took a random exam and got the special prize. What kind of genius is this? If she did her best, she would probably win the Nobel Prize. The world of geniuses is indeed not something that mortals like us can understand. I didn't expect the beauty to be by my side. She's much better than that Lu Miao who pretended to be a hero. Siyu, you have to take care of us in the future. The students around them were joking around. Lu Siyu smiled. Don't say that. We're all classmates. It's only right for everyone to take care of each other. In the future, if you encounter any difficulties, as long as I can help, I will definitely help. See you, you're really beautiful and kind-hearted. Of course. She's much better than that despicable Lu Miao. Gu Xingyu snorted. Seeing that the people around them had all started logging onto the forum and angrily posting to boycott and resist Lu Miao, no one paid attention to them anymore. Lu Xiyu then gently pulled on Gu Xingyu's arm and whispered, "Xingyu, I hope you can keep our situation with Miao Miao a secret at school. I don't want her to be talked about and pointed at by others, and it would hurt my parents." Gu Xingyu pursed her lips and said unwillingly, "All right, but Xiyu, don't worry. Even if she enters our house now, I won't acknowledge her. I promise that I will chase her out of the Gu family sooner or later. The position of my second sister. In law can only be yours." Lu Xiyu bit her lip and nodded, not saying anything else. From Gu Xingyu's reaction, it was likely that Mr. Gu's health should be improving. It seems that the life-extending method should have worked. Grandma Ma and the Gu siblings had a good impression of her. Although Shen Qinghe was a little troublesome, she should be able to coax her later. After Lu Miao died, she could go back and be the young madam of the Gu family. After all the freshmen had arrived, the teacher announced that the freshmen would begin their week-long military training in the afternoon. Although it was almost September, the sun was still scorching hot. Gu Xingyu and Lu Xiyu, these delicate young misses, were dizzy from the sun after a short while. After an afternoon of exposure to the sun and training, the two of them were so dizzy that they almost fainted. Even if they had prepared a thick layer of sunblock beforehand, it was useless. Their entire body was visibly darker. However, the strange thing was that they did not see Lu Miao even after looking at the field for a long time. Finally, the training ended and school ended in the afternoon. The Gu family's chauffeur was already waiting at the school gate. Gu Xingyu pulled Lu Xiyu into the car and said to the driver in front, "Drive." The chauffeur looked at Lu Xiyu in the back seat and hesitated for a moment. "Miss, Madam said that she wants to wait for young Madam to come along." Gu Xingyu said in disgust, "T young Madam. As long as I don't admit it, she will never be my second sister. In law. Drive, or I'll fire you immediately." Chapter 23. Secret dating so quickly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The driver had no choice but to leave Lu Miao behind and drive away. After Lu Miao left the school, she walked straight to the row of shared bicycles at the school gate. She scanned one with her phone and was about to ride away when Shen Muhuan called her. "Boss, where are you going?" Shen Muhuan ran up to them from behind. Lu Miao said directly, "Home. I'll send you off." To prevent Lu Miao from rejecting him, Shen Muhuan said, "Luo City is my home. No matter where your home is, it's on the way." Lu Miao was speechless. After getting into the car, she closed her eyes and took a nap. Shen Muhuan peeked at her from the side. He had a lot of things to say and hesitated for a long time. Only until they reached the Gu's residence and Lu Miao was getting off the car, Shen Muhuan brought up the topic. "Boss, the news on the forum." Lu Miao raised her eyebrows and looked at him. "You believe?" Shen Muhuan waved his hands hurriedly. No. I don't believe." "Then that's it." Lu Miao opened the car door and got out of the car. Shen Muhuan patted his chest and shouted, "Boss, don't worry. I'll find the person who spread the rumors behind your back. And those people who scolded you on the forum, I won't let any of them off. From today onwards, I will protect your reputation." Lu Miao's lips twitched. How did she meet such a chinibu? She waved her hand to him behind. As for those revelations, even a child could see that Gu Xingyu was being used as a pawn by Lu Xiyu. Behind him, Shen Muhuan looked at Lu Miao's back and couldn't help but marvel at how cool his boss was. Even something as simple as waving her hand looked stylish. However, was the Gu family abusing my boss? The school was so far away from here, yet they didn't even provide a driver and Lu Miao had to ride a shared bike. Those rumors that accused Lu Ming of scamming for money were clearly baseless and absurd. When Lu Miao returned home, Shen Qinghe was sitting on the sofa in the living room, completely absorbed in watching TV. She didn't know what she was watching, but her entire body was about to burrow into the television. When she saw her enter, she immediately stood up and went forward. She reached out and pulled her up, down, left, right, and carefully sized her up. Lu Miao was baffled. "What's wrong, Auntie Shen?" Shen Qinghe looked at her with concern. "Are you hurt anywhere?" "No, I didn't." Lu Miao replied in confusion. Shen Qinghe heaved a sigh of relief. Catching thieves is such a dangerous thing. It's better to leave it to men. Lu Miao looked at the TV and saw that the short videos of her catching the thief had been broadcasted on the news. The TV reporter somehow found the street vendor where Lu Miao had breakfast and was now interviewing the people who were there at the time. They were all talking excitedly, adding embellishments to their stories and making them sound even more thrilling. "I've already arranged for a few bodyguards to protect you from tomorrow onwards. In the future, if we encounter such a thing, just let them handle it," Shen Qinghe reminded Lu Miao. "Auntie Shen, did you not see that I was the one who caught the thief?" "Of course, I saw it. That thief was so tall and strong. How dangerous was that? With your thin arms and legs, if the thief had used more strength, he would have broken your bones." Shen Qinghe felt a lingering fear when she thought of the reports on television. Lu Ming facepalmed. She wondered how many layers of filters Shen Qinghe had on her to believe all of this. If she really fought with that thief, he would have ended up with a broken bone. Helpless, she looked at Shen Qinghe seriously and said, "Auntie Shen, there's really no need. I have the ability to protect myself. No, safety is not negotiable. They will only follow you in secret. They won't affect you." She thought of something and asked with a smile. "Miao Miao, did Ah Yen go to breakfast with you that day? How was his appetite? Was it all right?" Others only saw her bravely catching the thief, but she had sharp eyes and saw Gu Shiyan sitting in the corner from the video. Lu Miao nodded and replied honestly, "His appetite looks good. He ate a few soup dumplings and drank a bowl of tofu pudding." When Shen Qinghe heard that Gu Shiyan had eaten so much, she was so happy that she could not close her mouth. This was comparable to what he had eaten at home for the past 2 days. Miao Miao was really their little lucky star. No wonder she had asked Gu Shiyan to have breakfast with her that day, but that stubborn kid refused to eat. It turned out that he had already made plans to go out and eat with Miao Miao. These two children had started a secret dating so quickly. She immediately took out her phone and transferred another 2 million yuan to Lu Miao. "Take this 2 million. The roadside stall is not safe or sanitary. If you like to eat soup dumplings and tofu pudding, you can go to Red Goblet Square. The chefs there used to specialize in serving state banquets. They're very good at cooking Chinese food." She thought for a moment and said, "Never mind. I'll get someone to invite the chef back tomorrow. Tell him whatever you want to eat." As Shen Qinghe spoke, she had already taken out her phone with a smile and started sending messages to arrange for people to poach the chefs from Red Goblet Square. Lu Miao looked at the extra 2 million in her phone and felt a headache coming on. Did Shen Qinghe forget that it had only been a week since she had given her 2 million yuan? Was he treating her like a gold-devouring beast? What 2 million? "Lu Miao, did you take advantage of my absence to cheat my mother of her money again?" Gu Xingyu walked in fiercely. Shen Qinghe glared at her. "I didn't ask you yet. Where did you go with the driver? Why did you let Lu Miao come back alone?" Gu Xingyu shrugged and replied dismissively, "She's not someone without legs. I went to drop off Siyu." Shen Qinghe was so angry that she wanted to slap Gu Xingyu. How could she have such a stupid daughter? "From tomorrow onwards, you can walk to school and home on your own," she said unhappily. Gu Xingyu's face instantly turned bitter. Mom, our house is so far away from school. My legs will break if I walk. You also know it's far. And yet, you let Miao Miao walk back alone. She has legs, but you don't have. Shen Qinghe said angrily. Gu Xingyu felt a little guilty. She braced herself and said, she's from the countryside. She's in good health. Then you can take it as exercising your body. Lu Miao shook her head and went upstairs. After dinner, Lu Miao took a shower, turned on her computer, and logged into the school forum. The first thing he saw was a big red headline, exposing the fake hero, the real scheming woman, Lu Miao. Lu Miao, get out of Zhenhai High School. In just a short afternoon, there were already more than 10,000 posts. Some of them boycotted her, while others chose to believe her and support her. The two groups of people were engaged in a bloody battle. Chapter 24. Death Trap 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Miao raised her eyebrows and registered an account. After posting a few threads, she went offline. On the other side, Jiuhua Mountain. Gu Shiyan sat on the futon. Beside him, Grandma Gu looked at Master Jiuhua, who was frowning, and asked nervously. Master, how is Yan's current situation? Master Jiuhua was silent for a long time before he said, the living dead. Grandma Gu's face instantly turned pale. Master, what do you mean? Master Jiuhua changed the topic and asked directly, has the Gu family invited any masters recently? Grandma Gu shook her head. We've already looked for everyone in the industry who are highly respected, but they all said that there's nothing we can do. Otherwise, she would not have brought Gu Shiyan here overnight to wait for him to come out of seclusion. Master Jiuhua frowned. Mr. Gu's situation is a death trap. According to his condition, he should have been dead a long time ago. When Grandma Gu heard this, her vision turned black, and her body could not help but sway. Gu Shiyan quickly reached out to help her. Master Jiuhua poured some tea for her. After she had calmed down a little, he said, don't be anxious. Although I don't know why Mr. Gu is still alive and well, I think that there should be a noble person who intervened to break the situation. Moreover, this person is at least at the heavenly master level who comes along only once in 100 years. Grandma Gu's expression became better. Heavenly master. Master, are you sure? She naturally knew how precious the Taoist masters were in this era. They were 100 times rarer than the national treasure, the giant panda. Unless they took the initiative to show themselves, no one would be able to find them. Master Jiuhua nodded. That's right. This situation is extremely dangerous. If the person who breaks the situation is not careful, he will suffer a backlash and bring disaster upon himself. Those who weren't heavenly masters didn't dare to touch it. It's just that this situation has not been completely resolved yet. That's why Mr. Gu has become like a living corpse now. Grandma Gu asked anxiously, Master, do you have a solution for this situation? Master Jiuhua shook his head. I'm ashamed to say this. My ability is far from that of the heavenly master. I really can't help you. Why don't you think about it carefully and see if your family has met any noble people recently? As long as we find this noble, as long as he is willing to help, he will definitely have a way to protect Mr. Gu's life. Grandma Gu frowned and thought for a long time. She did not expect the Gu family to have met any noble people recently. Beside her, Gu Shiyan's fingertips gently rubbed the peach stone bracelet on his wrist, and his thin lips parted slightly. Master, how many years does it take to become a heavenly master? Master Jiuhua thought for a moment. Those with good talent will need 30 to 40 years. Those with bad talent will never have the chance. Gu Shiyan's hands paused. Is it possible for a few years? Or 10 years? Master Jiuhua immediately denied it. That's impossible. According to records, the youngest Taoist master in history was 30.2 years old. That person entered the Tao at the age of 5 and became a heavenly master at the age of 30.2. He had only cultivated for 20.7 years in between. This was already top-notch talent. It's impossible for anyone to be younger than him. Gu Shiyan lowered his eyes slightly. Did it really have to take 30 to 40 years? The phone in his pocket suddenly rang. After Gu Shiyan excused himself, he went out. He walked to the courtyard and took out his phone to answer the call. I say, aren't you too concerned about her? You personally monitor such a small matter like the school forum's revelations. If you have even a fraction of the affection for her as you have for yourself, you wouldn't have. Gu Shiyan said mercilessly, add another month. Oh my God, you're heartless when it comes to the opposite sex. Tang Mochen was about to cry. He was already exhausted from the 1-month special training in the Sahara, and another month would be unbearable. 2. Tang Mochen quickly interrupted him. The defamatory posts of Sister.in.law on the forum have been dealt with, and all the accounts that have posted those posts have been hacked. However, I don't know who just posted an interesting post. I've already sent it to your email. Do you want to deal with it? How's the investigation on the Lin family? I hacked into Lin Buffon's computer. He found that master in a mysterious forum on the internet. The codename is Mountain River, very popular on the forum. However, this master Mountain River has always been elusive and rarely comes online. I've tried to contact her, but I haven't received any reply. Gu Shiyan paused. What about tracing the IP address? His IP address is protected by layers of encryption. Once I try to trace it, I will touch the protection program and immediately reverse the trace. If it wasn't for my skill and speed, I would have been tracked by him. Got it. Keep a close eye on the Lin family. No matter who this Master Mountain River is, you have to find her. Gu Shiyan hung up the phone and opened his email. After reading the post, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. He immediately replied with a message, no need. Have someone increase the exposure of this post and pin it on the top. Boost its exposure and prevent it from being deleted. On the other side of the phone, Tang Mochen silently mourned for the mastermind behind all the defamatory posts. It was such a small matter, yet Mr. Gu had to personally oversee it. It was like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Gu Shiyan turned around, thought about it, and replied again. Arrange a plane. I want to go down the mountain. The next morning. When Lu Miao got up, washed up, and went downstairs to eat breakfast, she unexpectedly saw Gu Shiyan at the dining table. Seeing her, Gu Shiyan stood up and pulled out the chair next to him. Lu Miao didn't hesitate and sat down. Shen Qinghe walked out of the kitchen with a beaming face, carrying a steaming hot soup dumpling. Miao Miao, this was just made by the chef of Red Goblet Square. You and Gu Shiyan should try it quickly and see if it suits your taste. The tofu pudding will be ready soon. She had just said that she was going to poach the chefs yesterday afternoon, and this morning, they were already cooking for them at home. Lu Miao was helpless. She didn't particularly like soup dumplings, but she enjoyed the bustling atmosphere of street food stalls. Seeing Shen Qinghe looking at her expectantly, she took a bite and nodded. It's delicious. As long as you like it. Shen Qinghe turned around with a smile and went upstairs to call Gu Xinyu. Gu Shiyan glanced at her and said, if you don't like it, you don't have to force yourself. It's not that. I just feel that there's no need to go through so much trouble. Lu Miao said directly. Gu Shiyan reached out and elegantly scooped a bowl of soy milk for her and placed it in front of her. There's no need to go through a lot of trouble. Any problem that can be solved with money is not a problem. If earning money isn't for the purpose of providing a better life for you all, then everything I do is meaningless. You all. Lu Miao lowered her eyes slightly. Did he just include her in his list? The two of them finished their breakfast quietly and Lu Miao greeted Gu Shiyan. She got up and went upstairs to take her bag and go to school. Gu Shiyan stood up and picked up his coat from the chair at the side. I'll send you off. No need. There's a shared bike not far from the door. I'll ride to school as a form of exercise. After Lu Miao finished speaking, she walked out. Passing through the small garden at the entrance, she saw a shiny and eye-catching Porsche parked at the entrance. Chapter 25. Mr. Gu was interrupted in the face. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Lu Miao was about to go around to look for a shared bike, the door of the Porsche suddenly opened. Shen Muhan got out of the car with a pair of sunglasses on. He elegantly opened the car door and made a gentlemanly gesture. Boss, I'm here to pick you up for school. The Gu family abused their boss and did not arrange a car for her. In the future, he would be the one to protect his boss. Looking at the golden sports car that almost blinded her eyes, Lu Miao's lips twitched. However, the flashy color really suited Shen Muhan, a Chinibu. Lu Miao had no choice but to turn around and get into the car. Shen Muhan closed the car door and ran to the other side to get in. A black Maybach drove out of the manor. In the driver's seat, Bailey carefully looked at Gu Shiyan from the rearview mirror. Mr. Gu, do you want me to get out of the car and pick up young madam? Grandma Gu was still in Jiuhua Mountain. Mr. Gu had rushed back last night and purposely left home late today. He guessed that it must be for young madam. However, he did not expect that the young madam would be robbed at her doorstep. And in front of Mr. Gu. The eye-piercing car seemed to have deliberately brushed past them, then turned its tail proudly, leaving behind a trail of exhaust before quickly driving away. Bailey's temper was so bad that he almost stepped on the accelerator and chased after them. No need. Gu Shiyan narrowed his eyes and looked outside until the car disappeared from his sight. Go and find out who the owner of the car was. Yes, I'll get someone to investigate now. Bailey hurriedly nodded. To snatch the young madam in front of Mr. Gu, they must be seeking death. On the other side. When Lu Xiu arrived at school in the morning, she inexplicably felt that something was wrong. The classmates who had been bustling around her yesterday did not greet her today. Instead, they gathered in groups of 2 or 3, looking at their phones and whispering. He would steal glances at her from time to time and point at her. Lu Xiu wanted to find someone to ask what had happened, but Gu Xingyu did not know what was going on either and had yet to come. The military training would only begin after a while. She couldn't sit still and could only get up to go to the bathroom. Before she entered the door, she heard a few people discussing enthusiastically in the bathroom. Hey, did you see the school forum? Last night, someone posted a post revealing that Lu Xiu from the experimental class was a fake daughter. Her mother was the Lu family's nanny back then. In order to give her a good life, she secretly swapped her with the Lu family's newborn daughter. Lu Miao is the real daughter of the Lu family. I thought these two were biological sisters. I was just wondering why one was in the city and the other was in the countryside. Then from the looks of it, shouldn't the one who occupied her identity and even snatched her fiancé be Lu Xiu? Yeah, Lu Miao is too pitiful. After being abandoned in the countryside for so many years, it wasn't easy for her to come back, but she still has to bear the blame for spreading rumors. Lu Xiu's face was as pale as paper, and she staggered a few steps. Gritting her teeth, she took out her phone and opened the school forum. The explosive red headlines immediately rushed into her eyes. The exchange of lives between real and fake heiresses. Seeing these words, Lu Xiu's vision almost immediately started to turn black. Initially, she was against the idea of making the fake heiress scandal public, as the reputation of being a fake heiress was too negative. However, in order to let Lu Miao marry Gu Shiyan on her behalf, she had no choice but to agree. Ever since she came to Zhenhai High School, she was most worried that this matter would be exposed. Her hands trembled as she opened the post. The person who posted did not mention the situation of the Gu family and Gu Shiyan, or the reason why Lu Miao was engaged to him. She only briefly described how the two of them were switched when they were born. But this is also her cleverness. Human nature is to gossip, and the more vague things are said, the more it can arouse people's curiosity and desire to discuss. The post is filled with all kinds of wild speculations. There are also people everywhere trying to dig up information and reveal the truth. Although there aren't many students from Luo City in Zhenhai High School, there are still some. A person with the ID Shirlu Chunfeng stepped forward and exposed the truth. He said that Lu Miao had been suffering in the countryside all this time. It was not easy for her to be exposed and return to the Lu family. However, her biological parents despised her for coming from the countryside. They did not like her and abused her in all sorts of ways. Even the engagement with the Gu family was a betrothal when they were young, and it originally belonged to Lu Miao. Once this piece of news was released, it directly slapped Gu Xingyu and the others in the face for saying that Lu Miao was scheming and even snatched Lu Siyu's fiancé. The wind on the forum quickly changed. The posts that scolded and boycotted Lu Miao yesterday had all disappeared. Instead, the screen was filled with posts that scolded and boycotted her. Some people even brought up the fact that she was scheduled to speak on behalf of the new students at the opening ceremony, and they demanded that the school replace her with someone else. A few girls walked out of the bathroom and were surprised to see her at the door. They quickly walked away in a hurry. I saw someone post her photo yesterday and confirmed that she's Lu Siyu. What's the use of being good-looking and good at studying when you're so vicious? She took advantage of everything and even said that someone stole her fiancé. This is too shameless. That's right. She's as vicious as her own biological mother. It's really scary to be classmates with such a person. I'm afraid she might sell me out one day without even realizing it. Lu Siyu clenched her fists tightly, her nails almost piercing into her palms. She gritted her teeth. Since she knew so clearly, it must be Lu Miao. Damn it, this B*TCH actually dared to scheme against her behind her back. She exited the school forum and dialed a number. I want you to delete a post for me immediately. Also, look up that person called Shirlu Chunfeng. She wanted to see who was helping Lu Miao behind her back. After waiting anxiously for a few minutes, she did not expect the answer she received. That post has been specially protected by someone. It can't be deleted. Lu Siyu gritted her teeth. Then use another post to remove it. It's useless. I've already tried. Unless the person who posted it deleted it himself, this post will forever remain pinned at the top. If she were to forever be pinned on the top, wouldn't that mean that she would forever be nailed to the pillar of shame? As long as someone logged into the school forum, they would be able to see it. Every year, when the new students entered the school, they would take her out and give her a hard lashing. Ah! Lu Siyu screamed and smashed the phone onto the ground. She turned around and went back. On the way back, almost everyone in the school was discussing this matter. All kinds of unbearable curses entered her ears. Even the students in the experimental class avoided her when they saw her as if she was some kind of plague that could not be touched. However, she was clearly in the limelight yesterday, but today, everyone was scolding her so much that she could barely raise her head. Lu Siyu gritted her teeth in hatred. Suddenly, she saw something from the corner of her eye. Chapter 26. You've been expelled. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 26. You've been expelled. As she turned around, a dirty piece of paper ball hit her face with a loud slap. Although it didn't cause much physical harm, the insult was extremely strong. Lu Siyu felt like she was going to vomit blood and gritted her teeth. Damn it, she would never let go of Lu Miao. When she returned to the military training area, everyone in the experimental class immediately stayed away from her when they saw her. Gu Xingyu had yet to arrive for some reason. Lu Xiu could only stand there alone in embarrassment. It wasn't until the military training began that two people reluctantly stood beside her. Halfway through the military training, Gu Xingyuan finally arrived with sweat all over her head. She was punished with 50 push-ups by the instructor. After finishing the 50 push-ups, Gu Xingyuan was nearly dead and couldn't even get up from the ground. When it was finally time to rest, she was already half dead. Lu Xiu went forward. "Why are you so late today?" Gu Xingyu panted for a long time and gritted her teeth. "It's all because of Lu Miao. She complained to my mom yesterday and my mom immediately dismissed my chauffeur and made me walk to school. Fortunately, Shen Qinghe cared for her and did not let her walk to school. Instead, she gave her a bicycle. Her legs were about to break from riding the bike." Lu Xiu bit her lower lip. "Xingyu, don't blame Miao Miao. She just wants everyone's love and attention." As she spoke, her eyes turned red. Seeing this, Gu Xingyu immediately asked, "What's wrong? Did she bully you again?" Lu Xiu raised her hand to wipe the corners of her eyes and said with a choked voice, "She exposed the matter of us being swapped on the forum last night, saying that I'm a fake daughter and she's the real daughter, taking everything from her. T. She's so shameless. She stole your things and still dares to talk nonsense. I'm going to tear her mouth apart right now." Gu Xingyu was immediately enraged. She forgot she was tired and stood up to look for Lu Miao. Lu Xiu quickly stood up and pretended to pull her back. "Xingyu, forget it. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have stayed with the Lu family. She should be the one who should get lost." Gu Xingyu was aggressive. The strange thing was that there were 10 classes in grade 1. The two of them walked around but could not find her. Gu Xingyu was about to give up and wait until they got back. However, Lu Xiu's sharp eyes saw a familiar figure sitting in the shade of a tree reading a book in the corner of the field not far away. Beside her was a tall and handsome boy holding a small fan and fruit drinks. She laughed coldly in her heart and said softly, "Xingyu, look at the one resting under the tree over there. Isn't that Miao Miao?" Gu Xingyu immediately turned around and saw that it was Lu Miao. She was about to rush over but Lu Xiu pulled her back. "Forget it. She didn't even wear her military training clothes. She's probably hiding there to escape. If you go over like this, she'll be in trouble if she's discovered." Zhenhai High School had extremely strict requirements for the freshmen's military training every year. If anyone was found to have skipped the military training, they would be expelled immediately. Gu Xingyu's eyes lit up and she sneered. "Lu Miao, you're dead." Under the tree. Lu Miao looked down at the book in her hand, the corners of her lips curling up imperceptibly. "No matter what happens later, don't speak yet." Although Shen Muhan did not understand why, he nodded immediately. "Okay." He passed the drink to Lu Miao and said excitedly, "Boss, you were the one who hacked all the posts on the school forum last night, right? Can you teach me how to hack other people's posts?" Lu Miao narrowed her eyes. She really wasn't the one who did this. After she posted the thread last night, she went offline. Who was helping her behind her back? A face flashed past his eyes. Just as he was about to speak, Gu Xingyu walked over with the instructor and the headmaster in an aggressive manner. "Sir, it's her. Everyone is working hard for military training, but she's hiding here and slacking off." When Shen Muhan heard this, he was baffled. Military training was only done by freshmen every year. They were in their 3rd year of high school, so they were just out for an activity class. It had nothing to do with them. He stood up and was about to explain when he suddenly remembered Lu Miao's words and quickly shut his mouth. The headmaster frowned. Is what she said true? Lu Miao closed the book in her hand and looked up. No. Good, Lu Miao, you still dare to lie in front of the headmaster. Gu Xingyu immediately said to the dean, I have a witness who can prove that she is indeed a freshman and has been avoiding military training. As he spoke, he looked at Lu Xiyu behind him. Xiyu, tell the headmaster if Lu Miao is a new student. Lu Xiyu bit her lip and said softly, Miao Miao is indeed a new student. She enrolled with us yesterday. But sir, Miao Miao has been living in the countryside and doesn't know about these things. She didn't deliberately avoid military training. These words seemed to be speaking up for Lu Miao, but in fact, they were adding fuel to the fire, making it clear that Lu Miao had skipped the military training. The headmaster frowned when he heard this. Are you a new student? Lu Miao's lips curled up and she nodded calmly. Yes. Did you participate in military training these 2 days? No, but... Gu Xingyu immediately interrupted her. Sir, you heard it. She admitted it herself. The headmaster's expression turned cold. No matter what the reason is, Zhenhai High School will never allow anyone to escape military training. You can pack your things and leave now. Gu Xingyu looked at Lu Miao smugly. Did you hear that? You're fired. He, daring to go against me, really doesn't know her own strength. First, I'll drive her out of the school, next, I'll drive her out of the Gu family. Lu Miao raised her eyebrows slightly. Sir, I remember that there's a rule in Zhenhai High School that states that you can be expelled if you spread rumors and slander your classmates. The dean nodded. That's right. Gu Xingyu glared at her. You admitted it yourself just now. I didn't slander you. Lu Miao nodded. That's right. I'm a new student and I didn't participate in military training. After a pause, she smiled and said, however, I'm a third-year freshman. I don't need to participate in military training. Shen Muhan nodded frantically. Impossible, sir. She's lying. Gu Xingyu immediately denied it and said disdainfully, she scored 4 points in her middle school exams for mathematics, 6 points for Chinese, and 3 points for English. She only came to Zhenhai High School because my brother donated a building to the school. With such results, the school will never let her enter the 3rd year of high school. Lu Miao turned to look at Shen Muhan. Shen Muhan was about to suffocate. When he received her signal, he immediately said, Headmaster, I'm from 3rd year class 1. I can testify that my boss is indeed from 3rd year class 1 like me. Gu Xingyu laughed coldly. Who knows if he's someone you purposely hired to deceive people and avoid military training. Unless you get the form teacher of 3rd year class 1 to prove it. She didn't believe that Lu Miao, who had relied on her connections to get into school, would be able to get into the 3rd year directly. Chapter 27. Killing Without Leaving a Trace. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Shen Muhan heard this, he ran towards the office without Lu Miao saying anything. 5 minutes later. Li Sihai followed Shen Muhan to the sports field with a sour face. The headmaster asked directly, Is this Lu Miao a student of your year 3 class 1? Li Sihai had no idea what had happened. Shen Muhan had only said that the headmaster was waiting for him at the field. Now that he saw it was about Lu Miao's matter, he was dumbfounded and could only nod his head, feeling as if he had eaten a fly. Gu Xingyu was completely dumbfounded. Impossible, this is impossible. How could she be in year 3? Teacher, did you see the wrong person? The headmaster also frowned. What happened? Zhenhai High School had never had a precedent of a freshman going straight to year 3. Li Sihai explained helplessly, it was arranged by the principal. The headmaster only knew that the Gu family had suddenly donated a building to the school, but he did not know why. After hearing Li Sihai's reply, he recalled what Gu Xingyu had said earlier. He immediately understood that the Gu family had donated a building so that Lu Miao could attend Zhenhai High School. Lu Miao, who was a slacker, came to Zhonghai High School not to study well but just to get a diploma and move on to college in the future. In order to save time and avoid the freshman's military training, she started her studies in year 3. He had always hated those who entered the school through the back door, especially those who relied on his family's wealth to get special privileges and not study hard. Since it's a misunderstanding, let's disperse. Lu Miao nodded. Yes, I believe that the headmaster will deal with the matter of them spreading rumors and slandering me fairly. The headmaster, who had originally planned to just let it go, was speechless. There were so many students watching. If he really let this matter go, he would probably be accused of being unfair. Lu Xiu was so frightened that she quickly said, "I didn't, headmaster. I only said what I knew. I really didn't know that she would go straight to the 3rd year of high school. Her identity had already been exposed. If she was expelled from school, she would never be able to hold her head high in Luo City." Shen Muhan added, "You don't know anything and you're just spouting nonsense without any evidence. Isn't this slander?" Gu Xingyu gritted her teeth and glared at Lu Miao. "Lu Miao, don't go too far." Lu Miao said calmly, "It was you who brought people to find me first." "That's right. Boss and I were having a good activity class here, and you guys suddenly came over to slander my boss and even wanted the school to expel her." "Who is bullying who?" Shen Muhan said confidently. Lu Xiu was furious and anxious. She gritted her teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. She could only endure the humiliation and say to Lu Miao, "Miao Miao, I'm sorry. It was my fault just now. I really didn't do it on purpose." Let that cunning little brat, Lu Miao, enjoy her moment of triumph for a while. At the opening ceremony of the new semester a week later, the principal would announce her identity as the winner of the mathematical Olympiad competition. She would use her strength to slap Lu Miao in the face and tell everyone that even if her identity as the eldest daughter of the Lu family was fake, she was still 100 times better than that useless Lu Miao. The headmaster was naturally unwilling to expel 2 top students from the experimental class for the sake of a slacker. Since the 2 of them have already apologized, then punish them by cleaning the bathroom for a month. Consider it a chance for them. "Headmaster, there's only one apology. I'm missing one more." Shen Muhan raised his eyebrows and looked at Gu Xingyu. The headmaster had no choice but to turn to look at Gu Xingyu. Gu Xingyu only wanted to curse at Lu Miao, but under the watchful eye of the instructor, all she could do was grit her teeth and mutter 3 words, "I'm sorry." Lu Miao did not really expect the school to expel them. This time, it was just a warning. However, the new students already had a negative attitude toward military training, and the disruption caused by their argument delayed the training for a long time. In order to prevent other students from intentionally avoiding military training, the instructor punished Gu Xingyu and Lu Xiu with an 800-meter run and 30 push-ups each, citing their disruption as the reason. The 2 of them endured the scorching sun above their heads and almost died on the spot. They were like 2 salted fish lying on the ground, panting heavily and unable to move. Under the shade of a tree, Shen Muhan picked up the ice water on the ground, unscrewed the cap, and handed it to Lu Miao. He then reached out and gave her a thumbs up. His boss's methods were too awesome. Step by step leading Gu Xingyu and Gu Xiu to dig their own graves, it's like killing someone without leaving a trace. After school in the afternoon, Lu Miao had just walked out of the school when she saw a familiar figure leaning against the car. His long, straight legs could be seen at a glance under his tight-fitting trousers. 2 buttons of his white shirt were unbuttoned, and he looked like a ruffian. The gold-rimmed glasses blocked the expression in his eyes, but it could not hide his exquisite facial features. The passers-by and students around him were all attracted to him. A little girl turned her head to look at him and knocked over a bicycle. The passers-by could not help but laugh. The little girl quickly picked up the bicycle and ran away with a blushed face. The person in the center of attention didn't care at all. When he saw Lu Miao come out, he stood up straight and opened the car door. Instantly, everyone looked at Lu Miao with envy. Lu Miao facepalmed. She had finally persuaded Shen Muhan to leave, but now another one came. He walked straight forward and got into the car. You don't have to go through so much trouble to pick me up. No trouble at all. Gu Shiyan turned sideways and reached out to pull the seatbelt beside her ear. He personally fastened it for her. It's what I should do. Lu Miao turned to look at him. Actually, I'm used to running around in the countryside. I prefer to run to school. Perhaps it was because her master had passed away early in her previous life, she had grown accustomed to being independent, and she felt somewhat uncomfortable with the feeling of being taken care of by others everywhere. Gu Shiyan could not help but chuckle and nod. Okay, I got it. I'm very sorry about Xingyu. She was too willful. There's a house in Haitang Bay that's closer to Zhenhai High School. I've already arranged everything for you. The password to the door is 1201. If you're not comfortable staying at the Gu residence, you can go there at any time. Thank you, but I don't need it for now. Lu Miao shook her head. She stayed in the Gu family because the formation had not been broken. After the formation was completely broken and Gu Shiyan's problem was resolved, she would leave the Gu family instantly. There was no need to fuss over it now. Gu Shiyan nodded. Seeing that she had closed her eyes and was ready to rest, his fingertips subconsciously tapped on his thigh a few times. He asked, "Do you know Heavenly Master?" Lu Miao opened her eyes and shook her head. I don't know. Gu Shiyan raised his eyebrows slightly. Is there a problem? Lu Miao looked at him. Gu Shiyan smiled and shook his head. No. He always seemed helpless when it came to her. An hour after they returned home, Gu Xingyu returned, covered in dirt. She went upstairs angrily and did not even come out for dinner. After dinner, Lu Miao returned to her room and was doing her homework at her desk. A white light suddenly flashed across the night sky outside the window. Chapter 28. The moon is beautiful tonight. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Miao's eyebrows twitched. She put down her homework and stood up. She opened the balcony door and walked out. With a slight movement of her fingertips, she parted the black clouds in the night sky. She saw that a second formation was slowly taking shape outside the 7-kill formation above her head. From time to time, white light would rise from different directions in the city and fill in the gaps in the formation. Unlike the incomplete 7-kill formation, this was a complete tiger subduing formation. Although it was not as lethal as the 7-kill formation, because the formation was complete, its effect was far stronger than the previous blood curse. Once it was completely formed, with the combination of the two formations, even if she could break it, she would have to pay a considerable price. Lu Miao sighed. Setting up a formation was the same as breaking a formation. Many of the magic tools needed were priceless. The manpower, resources, and financial resources needed to set up a formation in a place like Luo City where the powerful and wealthy gathered were definitely not something that ordinary people could do. The branch families of the Gu family did not have the ability to do so. She was really curious about who was behind this. What did Gu Shiyan do to attract so much hatred? The tiger subduing formation was more than half completed. Lu Miao flipped over and went to the roof. She tapped the bracelet on her wrist lightly, and the bracelet instantly turned into a rectangular box shape. She took out a string of copper bells and a token. She threw the token in different directions of the tiger subduing formation, placing it in the middle. Then, she sat cross-legged on the ground and quickly formed a few hand seals in front of her. The copper bell instantly moved without any wind, emitting a crisp sound. The black clouds in the night sky kept rolling and gathering. With a rumble, a loud thunder sounded, followed by a bolt of lightning streaking across the night sky. The formation that was taking shape in the night sky was instantly scattered by half. The other party did not show any weakness. Light rays continuously rose from different directions, quickly repairing the formation that had been scattered earlier. Lu Miao formed a seal with one hand and took out a canopy ruler from the box with the other. She hacked at the formation in the night sky. Downstairs. Gu Shiyan stood on the balcony of the room, his expression calm as he watched the increasingly intense lightning flashing across the night sky. The various colors of lightning intertwined, almost consciously covering the entire sky above the Gu family. The huge thunderous sound shook the entire house. As if it wanted to destroy the world. It lasted for about 5 minutes before it dissipated. Just like when the thunder suddenly sounded, everything disappeared without any warning. The tranquility of the night outside the window was restored once again. The clouds in the night sky had dissipated, a bright crescent moon hanging on the branches. One could faintly see the scattered stars on the distant horizon. Everything was beautiful as if everything that had happened before was just his illusion. The shadow of the eaves covered most of his face and hid the expression in his eyes. No one could guess what he was thinking at that moment. Just as he was about to turn around and return to his room, he suddenly saw a black shadow fall from the roof from the corner of his eye. He turned around and saw Lu Miao landing lightly on the balcony of the room next door. The two of them looked at each other. Lu Miao froze. Damn, she was too careless. Gu Shiyan raised his eyebrows and looked up at the roof that was at least 10 meters away from their balcony. He then looked at Lu Miao. You. Lu Miao's face was neither red nor out of breath. I had nothing better to do, so I came out to look at the moon. A smile flashed across Gu Shiyan's eyes. He did not expose her and nodded. Yes, the moon is very beautiful tonight. Then take your time. Lu Miao turned around and returned to her room as if nothing had happened. Gu Shiyan looked at the empty balcony opposite him for a moment before raising his head to look at the night sky above his head again. Downstairs, the servants passing through the garden were discussing the strange lightning and thunder in a low voice, clearly proving to him that everything just now was not an illusion. He took out his phone and checked the weather forecast. It was sunny in Luo City, and the temperature at night was 20 degrees Celsius. He scrolled through the forecast for the next week, and every day was predicted to be clear as well. Putting away his phone, he couldn't help but think back to what had just happened. Was it really just a normal weather change? He thought about the little friend who had jumped down from 10 meters above with such ease and precision. The skill was far beyond what even Tang Machin, who had undergone special training for years, could do. Where had she learned such things? Realizing what he was thinking, Gu Shiyan lowered his eyes and laughed softly. Lu Miao seemed to have a kind of magic that lured him to explore. And she had no intention of telling him. However, that was not important. If she didn't want to tell him, he wouldn't ask. On the top of a mountain somewhere in Luo City. The 4 middle-aged men's faces were all sallow, and blood flowed from the corners of their mouths as they fell to the ground. The magic tools in front of them were all black, as if they had been blown up by something and had been completely destroyed. One of them raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked at the middle-aged man in a black robe beside him. Big brother, what should we do now? All the magic tools have been destroyed. Do you want to try again? The man's expression was extremely ugly. The Gu family must have found a very powerful master. Tell master that we must find and get rid of him. Otherwise, as long as he is alive, our plan will never succeed. The Gu family was really lucky. Today, when the metaphysics masters were almost extinct, they were actually able to find them and even promised to help them. He wanted to see just where this expert came from. When Lu Miao went downstairs for breakfast the next morning, Gu Shiyan had left again. In the following week, the news that Lu Miao had donated a building to enter year 3 spread everywhere in school. Her report card from when she was in the countryside was also exposed. Her single-digit scores in all subjects were particularly eye-catching. At the same time, Lu Siyu's identity as the special prize winner of the mathematical Olympiad competition was exposed on the forum, which once again pulled back some good feelings for her. Lu Miao did not say anything to explain. She sneaked out a few times at night and found the place where the other party had set up the formation. The plantation around the mountain peak had been charred by lightning. Other than that, there were no other useful clues left behind. Lu Miao hacked into the surrounding surveillance system to retrieve the surveillance records of that night. However, she realized that all the surveillance images had been deleted long ago. It was obvious that they had been prepared. However, what surprised her was that she encountered another person when she hacked into the monitoring system by bypassing the firewall. That person's strength was quite good. After the two of them fought, the surveillance system could not withstand the attack load from both sides and collapsed. Rarely did she come across an opponent of similar strength, and Landy couldn't help but feel a little regretful. The 1-week military training for the freshmen soon ended. The opening ceremony was finally about to begin. The first afternoon, Lu Siyu finished writing the script for her speech on stage. After repeatedly revising it, she took the initiative to look for their homeroom teacher with the script. Chapter 29. Didn't play by the rules. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 29. Didn't play by the rules. 1. The homeroom teacher was quite fond of this top student who had won the National Mathematical Olympiad Outstanding Award. Although it was only an outstanding award, it was already quite good to be able to stand out among so many students in the country. If she is taught well, she will definitely be admitted into top universities like Tsinghua or Peking University in the future. She had also heard some of the rumors on the forum. In comparison, she hated that good.4. slacker Lu Miao more. She took the speech with a smile and read it carefully. She nodded in satisfaction. Yes, it's written very well. Your future is limitless. I heard that other than the ministers of the education department, there will be a few internationally renowned professors coming tomorrow. The reporters from the television station would also come to record the entire process. Siyu, you have to perform well. When Lu Siyu heard this news, she was so excited that her heart thumped wildly. If she could get to know a few professors at today's ceremony and leave a good impression on them, with their recommendation letters, she would be able to choose from those famous universities overseas. I see. Teacher Lin, can you bring me to familiarize myself with the venue process first? I'm afraid that I'll make a mistake if I'm too nervous. All right. The homeroom teacher brought her directly to the school auditorium. In the auditorium, the person in charge of the ceremony was directing the arrangements for tomorrow's ceremony. The homeroom teacher brought Lu Siyu forward and greeted the person in charge. Teacher Lu, this is our classmate, Lu Siyu. She's going to speak on behalf of the new students at the ceremony tomorrow. I want to bring her around to familiarize herself with the venue and the process. All right, let me take a look at the procedure. The person in charge nodded and took out the procedure sheet to look at it. Then, he raised his head and asked in confusion. Teacher Lin, did you remember wrongly? The freshman's name on the program sheet isn't her name. The homeroom teacher frowned. That's impossible. She's the school's only mathematical Olympiad winner. Before school started, she had already been assigned to give a speech on stage. The person in charge handed the procedure sheet in front of him. Take a look. On the procedure sheet, the freshman representative who is going to speak on stage tomorrow is Lu Miao, not Lu Siyu. Lu Siyu also hurried over. When she saw the two words, Lu Miao, on the procedure sheet, she immediately said anxiously, Teacher, could it be that there was a mistake on the procedure sheet? Her grades are so bad that she even bought her way into Zhenhai High School. How can the school let her speak on stage on behalf of the new students? I don't think so. The principal has already reviewed the procedure. I'll call again to confirm. The person in charge took out his phone and called the principal, but no one picked up. Lu Xiu was incomparably anxious. She had already endured for so long, just waiting for the opening ceremony to slap Lu Miao in the face and turn the tables for herself. If Lu Miao really went on stage, she would not be able to hold her head up high in school in the future. As the few of them were talking, the headmaster happened to walk in from outside. After asking clearly, he said directly, "Take this Lu Miao off and replace him with Lu Xiu." Ever since he knew about Lu Miao, he did not have a good impression of her entering the school through the back door. Now that he knew she was going to replace a good student like Lu Xiu, he felt even more disgusted. The person in charge hesitated and said, "Director, I don't think that's a good idea." The list was decided by the principal. Hearing that it was the principal again, the headmaster frowned even more. This was definitely the Gu family stepping in again. The principal had no choice but to agree to use Lu Miao to replace Lu Xiu on account of the Gu family. The principal couldn't refuse, so he would do it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll talk to the principal. Xiu was the winner of the mathematical Olympiad competition. Only such an outstanding person could be the freshman representative. Zhenhai High School's reputation for so many years must not be ruined by Lu Miao. The headmaster didn't allow any explanation and directly removed Lu Miao from the list. The person in charge had no choice but to agree. Only then did Lu Xiu finally heave a sigh of relief. Lu Miao, that trash, still wanted to compete with her. Dream on, just wait to be slapped in the face. After familiarizing herself with the process, she left the auditorium. It was just after school ended, so Lu Xiu went straight to Year 3 Class 1. Lu Miao carried her school bag while Su Mo, Shen Muhan, and the others surrounded her as they chatted and laughed as they walked out. Miao Miao. When Shen Muhan saw her, the smile on his face immediately disappeared. He said impatiently, "Get lost. You're blocking the way." Lu Xiu's eyes instantly reddened. "I'm sorry, senior. I didn't do it on purpose." "If you know you're sorry, then get lost," Shen Muhan said bluntly. Lu Xiu took a step back and bit her lip as she said to Lu Miao, "Miao Miao, I'm here to apologize to you. In the afternoon, the headmaster looked for me and asked me to speak as the representative of the new students. I only found out from the teacher later that you were supposed to go on stage. I'm really sorry. I didn't do it on purpose." "Boss, what's going on?" "You're going on stage to give a speech tomorrow," but she snatched it away. Shen Muhan quickly turned to Lu Miao for confirmation. They were standing in the corridor, and now that school was over, everyone was walking out. Many students passing by heard it and discussed it in small groups. Lu Miao, a slacker, wants to go on stage and speak on behalf of the new students. Don't embarrass yourself here. I heard that she only scored 6 marks for Chinese. I'm afraid that this illiterate can't even read the words in the script. So what if she's a rich girl? She's still a good for nothing. I'm afraid that the opportunity to speak on stage was bought by her family. The headmaster is wise. All of you shut up." Shen Muhan rolled up his sleeves, as if he was going to hit anyone who dared to speak again. So what if she was not good at his studies? She is still his boss. Whoever scolded boss is scolding him. Su Mo sneered. If you really wanted to reject him, you would have rejected when the headmaster told you. Why are you acting so magnanimous now? Even Westlake Longjing T** would call you their ancestor. I didn't. I really didn't know that the person who was supposed to go on stage was Miao Miao. My homeroom teacher just told me. Lu Xiu looked at Lu Miao with an aggrieved expression. Miao Miao, if you're unhappy, I can go to the headmaster right now and beg him to change you back. Lu Miao nodded. Alright, you can go to the headmaster then. Lu Xiu was dumbfounded and almost suspected that she had heard wrongly. Shouldn't a normal person say that they didn't mind to show their magnanimity? Why didn't Lu Miao play by the rules? I still have to go home. I'll be leaving first. Remember to look for him. I believe that since you're so sincere, the headmaster will definitely agree. Lu Miao patted her shoulder meaningfully, then turned around and walked past her, heading downstairs. Remember your words. Don't forget them, Shen Muhan and Su Mo reminded her again in a sarcastic way, then quickly followed Lu Miao. Lu Xiu stood there and gritted her teeth in hatred as she watched the few of them leave. Damn Lu Miao, you shameless scoundrel. She wanted to shine when she was given some sunlight. Asking her to ask the headmaster to give her the position to speak on stage was simply dreaming. Moreover, after what happened just now, many people had heard it. Before tomorrow, the news of Lu Miao being replaced by her on stage would spread throughout the entire school. Just wait to lose face. Chapter 30. Hurt Lu Miao's self-esteem. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 30. Hurt Lu Miao's self-esteem. 1. Ha ha ha, boss, all the bamboo shoots asterisk on the mountain have been snatched by you. You didn't see that Lu Xiu's face turned green just now. Shen Muhan laughed. Susan snorted. Dealing with that hypocritical green tea like that, you're a true tea expert, boss. Shen Muhan glanced at Lu Miao, then patted his chest and promised, but don't worry, boss. From today on, I will work even harder. Lu Xiu may have taken your chance today, but I will double my efforts to snatch it back for you in the future. With the headmaster personally intervening, it seemed that it was already a done deal, and there was probably no way to change it. He could only blame himself for being too useless in the past. In the future, even if it was for boss, he would still work hard. Su Mo also said, yes, boss, don't be sad this time. It's just representing the freshmen on stage. It's not a big deal. We'll all work hard. In the future, we'll definitely suppress that green tea Lu Xiu to death. We won't give her any chance. The two of them echoed each other to make her happy. Lu Miao raised her eyebrows and glanced at them. You don't have any confidence in me. Of course not. Shen Muhan and Su Mo shook their heads. It's the headmaster's bad judgment. Boss will definitely be the best in the future. The corners of Lu Miao's lips curled up. Although these two people trusted her very much, in the matter of speaking on stage, they were clearly certain that Lu Xiu had the headmaster's support and would definitely win. Since everyone was certain that she had been replaced, let's just wait and see tomorrow. During dinner, Gu Xingyu glanced at her disdainfully. What an ignorant fool, thinking she could replace Xiu as the spokesperson for the new students. It's simply asking for humiliation. Shen Qinghe felt a headache when she heard her words. Shut up. Gu Xingyu pouted and said unhappily, Mom, why are you always so biased toward her? I'm just stating the fact that the spokesperson for the new students should be an outstanding student with both good morals and academic performance. She's so lousy at her studies, and she even used our Gu family's identity to try and get through the back door to replace Xiu. Simply shameless. Shen Qinghe picked up a chicken drumstick and stuffed it into her mouth, stopping her from speaking. If you don't know how to talk, then eat. Woo woo. Gu Xingyu took the drumstick out of her mouth with difficulty and glared at Lu Miao angrily. I feel so disgusted that I can't eat when I see her. I'm full. With that, she got up and ran away before Shen Qinghe could flare up. Shen Qinghe was helpless. She reached out and picked up some bamboo shoots for Lu Miao. Miao Miao, Xingyu is obsessed. I will educate her properly. Don't take it to heart. Yes. Lu Miao nodded and ate quietly. Her beautiful and exquisite face was calm and relaxed as if she didn't care about anything. The more Shen Qinghe thought about it, the sadder she felt. Her biological parents had treated her so badly in the Lu family. Now that she was in their house, Gu Xingyu, this insensible girl, gave her a hard time every day. She must be feeling bad. Sigh, she just wanted to go on stage to give a speech and be happy. This was not a big deal. She thought for a while and said, "Meow meow, why don't I help you find a few tutors to tutor you?" As long as her grades improved, she could go on stage to give a speech as he wished. Lu Miao's lips twitched. "Auntie Shen, there's no need. I have no problems with my studies. I don't need a tutor." Shen Qinghe's heart skipped a beat. She wondered if she had been too direct and made her think that she disliked her poor grades and hurt Lu Miao's self-esteem. She nodded her head hurriedly. "Oh, okay. If you have any questions and want a tutor, let me know." Lu Miao was helpless. She knew that she could not explain herself now. Since the parents of freshmen would be attending the opening ceremony tomorrow, she did not explain further. She just nodded and said, "Okay." This year, because of the arrival of several internationally renowned professors, the opening ceremony of the new students was especially grand. As the #1 high school in Luo City, a few ministers from the education department came personally. There were also reporters from the provincial television station recording the entire process. After the parents arrived at the school one after another in the morning, they were specially brought to the viewing area. Lu Xiu was wearing a white Gucci short-sleeved shirt, a Chanel black dress, and white shoes. She looked simple and fresh. With her exquisite makeup, her entire body sparkled, and she stood out among the students in school uniforms. "Xiu, you're so beautiful today. Much prettier than that Lu Miao." A classmate beside her said enviously. Lu Xiu felt a bit embarrassed as she smoothed down the stray hair on her ear. "No, Miao Miao is my younger sister. Please don't say things like that. She doesn't treat you as her sister. She even wants to snatch your spot to speak on stage. Fortunately, the headmaster is wise. Hee, her. She's just a little sparrow from the countryside. Even if she flies to the treetops, she can't become a phoenix. In my opinion, Xiu is the real belle of society. Whether in appearance, character, or academic performance, she's miles ahead of that useless student, Lu Miao, who is a total slacker." The group of people chattered as they deliberately passed by the student area of Year 3 Class 1. Hearing this, all the students in Year 3 Class 1 were furious and almost rushed up to beat them up. Lu Miao, who was surrounded by everyone, was calm and composed. She was playing with her phone and playing watermelon game. After all the parents of the students had arrived, the opening ceremony officially began. First, the leaders of the education department spoke, followed by a few professors. They expressed their optimism for Zhenhai High School's future and also specially emphasized student Lu's outstanding performance in the mathematical Olympiad competition, indicating that they were here specifically for her. Because the professor only mentioned student Lu, coupled with the previous rumors in the school, almost all the students in Zhenhai High School had already confirmed that it was definitely Lu Xiu. For a moment, more than half of the people below the stage turned their heads and looked in the direction of the Year 1 experimental class with envy. Qin Shuang, who was in the viewing area, had a face full of pride. She could not wait to point at Lu Xiu, who was in the experimental class, and introduce her to the people beside her. The student Lu whom the expert was talking about was her daughter. The surrounding parents were all envious. Qin Shuang could not help but feel even more pleased with herself. Back then, her decision to abandon Lu Miao and leave Lu Xiu behind was indeed correct. Only such an outstanding girl was worthy of being the daughter of the Lu family. Lu Miao, that kind of trash, was not worthy at all. If it was not for Gu Shiyan, that dying guy, she would never have anything to do with trash. Lu Xiu also did not expect that she would be so outstanding that even internationally renowned professors would look at her in a different light. She had been troubled about how to get the principal to introduce her to the professors, but now it seemed that they had come especially for her and would definitely take the initiative to meet her later. For a moment, her back straightened involuntarily, and she proudly received the envy and admiration of the entire school's students and parents with 360-degree gazes.